Laker fans, Markieff Morris is back, as you can see right here. So before we break it all down and what it means for the Los Angeles Lakers, I want you to do something for me. I want you to get down to the comment section. Let me know just how excited you are to have Markieff Morris back on this Lakers team. 1 being you didn't ever want him back. A 10 being you're extremely over the moon excited. So let me know in the comment section just how excited you are. Now, as I just mentioned, Markieff Morris has announced himself that he is coming back to the Los Angeles Lakers. Reports are coming out on the contract details. It looks like it's going to be a minimum deal for 1 year for Markieff Morris, which is kind of hilarious considering the Clippers went out and paid Marcus Morris a lot more than that for the next 4 years. Markieff not getting that many years, not getting that much money either, and this doesn't come out of the Lakers' salary, so he gets a little bit of that hometown contender discount, gives that to the Lakers. Now, the Lakers weren't the only other team interested in Markieff Morris. The Clippers wanted to pair him up with his brother as well, and the Lakers said, nah, we'll take Markieff back. We don't want you to have him. The Toronto Raptors, after they lost Serge Ibaka to the Clippers and then also lost Marc Gasol to the Los Angeles Lakers, were looking at Markieff Morris as a real option for them as well. It's kind of that backup 4, maybe a small ball 5 option. Now, remember, the way the Lakers actually acquired Markieff Morris was back during the trade deadline when they were looking to trade for Marcus Morris, but they didn't get him. And then the Detroit Pistons cut Markieff Morris. So the Lakers were like, hey, why don't we just take a flyer on Marcus's other brother, or twin brother, I should say. So he only plays in the 14 games, but he did have a pretty strong impact on the Lakers when it came to the bubble and the playoffs. Now, the report came out actually from Markieff himself. Don't let any other reporters tell you, oh, sources say. No, the source was Markieff Morris himself as he announced he is coming back. And you know what? I think this is a smart move for the Lakers. I think it's a smart move for Markieff Morris because he has an established role, and he already has kind of established that relationship with head coach Frank Vogel and the rest of the Lakers as well. Now, we've got all the breaking news ready to go for you here on the Lakers Report. We did Marc Gasol right when it happened. We have now Markieff Morris right when it happens. We have everything the second we get answers. Wesley Matthews, the Dennis Schroeder trade, over and over again. And this is the fastest growing channel ever on YouTube for the Lakers. So make sure you go youtube.com/LakersTV. You scroll down, hit that big red subscribe button. We're growing like crazy, and it's all thanks to you guys. I think we just crossed the 28,000 subscriber threshold. We want to get to 30,000 before the NBA season starts up. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Now let's keep talking about Markieff Morris a little bit and what his numbers actually looked like on the Lakers. Again, it was only 14 games. So it was a very small sample size, and it wasn't really a way in which, or a good enough time for the Lakers to be like, hey, we'll, really get you established. So he only puts up 5 points per game, 33% from 3. Not incredible, especially considering the fact that he shot about 40% with the Detroit Pistons from 3. So it took a little bit of a step back. But the thing was, he didn't really have that much time to establish himself in this rotation. So he has time now. He'll get a full year under his belt with Frank Vogel. It's a 1-year deal. It's not costing you anything. It takes no money out of the 2021 cap space. You're bringing back a guy that literally knows the system. He fits in well as a backup behind LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and even like Marc Gasol, maybe even Montrezl Harrell if he decides to start. And he comes in right away and gives you a different look at the big position. Because when you look at the big men on this team already, yes, Marc Gasol is a pretty solid shooter from the 5. Anthony Davis is a reliable shooter, obviously, from the 4. But you don't have any guys off the bench that you would say, hey, go get me a 3-point bucket in that 4 or 5 position. Maybe Kuzma, but Markieff is a better shooter than Kyle Kuzma. Now, it kind of looks like the Lakers might repeat again next year, so you might need to go out and get your 2020 NBA championship gear while you still can. And what better way to do it than go get a mask, because you got to wear one every day so you can rep the Lakers every single day at chatsports.com/NBA champs. Guys, the preseason starts on December 11th. And if we're allowed to go to games, you might as well be wearing some Laker masks in the stadiums at chatsports.com/NBA champs. They got masks. They also have other championship gear, but I wanted to make sure I highlighted this for you especially because this is something you're going to use every single day in today's day and age. So chatsports.com/NBA champs. They've got you hooked up with all things Lakers championship gear. Go check them out. Now, kind of recapping this offseason and what's happened so far. Look, the first signing of the day, or the first signing of the offseason, happened on day one, night one, when they landed Wes Matthews for $3 million, which is a huge upgrade when you consider you were paying $15 million for Danny Green. And then they go out and they steal Montrezl Harrell away from the Clippers for literally for the mid-level exception. A deal that doesn't take anything out of cap space, only $9 million per year for the next 2 years. I mean, just a home run signing by them. And then out of nowhere, just last night, they go out and get Marc Gasol, someone that nobody thought they had even space for. And I remember they also re-signed Caldwell Pope, and now they bring back Markieff Morris. They traded for Dennis Schroeder. Now, of course, they did lose some pieces in Dwight Howard, Rajon Rondo, Avery Bradley, JaVale McGee, and Danny Green. And while that seems like a lot, when you look at the pieces they kind of made up for it with, it makes a lot more sense. So now the question is kind of like, what does this team look like? Who starts? Who comes off the bench? And where are the changes made? You know, I know Dennis Schroeder was a sixth man in Oklahoma City, but I think on this Laker team, he kind of has to be a starter right now because your only other option is you start maybe Caruso alongside him or you start Wes Matthews and just commit full-time to LeBron at point guard. But I like Schroeder in there as a starting point guard. I think KCP's got to be in the starting lineup at the 2 position because he's a better defender and can defend more versatile players than Wes Matthews can. Of course, your mainstays in the rotation are LeBron and Anthony Davis, as they will be kind of that two-headed monster in the starting 5. I believe the Lakers should start Marc Gasol, but you play him less minutes and give Montrezl Harrell that six-man role because we've seen Montrez really excel as a six-man with the Clippers. I think he can repeat that with the Lakers. Now, of course, and you also have Wes Matthews coming off the bench. Of course, our boy Alex Caruso. Now Markieff Morris is back. And you see if Kyle Kuzma can make any significant changes or upgrades in his game. Look, this lineup now has a lot of versatility. And again, you lost a starting point guard in Avery Bradley, but you replaced him with Dennis Schroeder. You lost a starting center in JaVale McGee, but you replaced him with Marc Gasol. You lost a backup center in Dwight Howard, but you replace him with Montrezl Harrell. And you lose a starting guard in Danny Green and replace him with Wes Matthews. Every move this Lakers team has made has been calculated and has gotten them better and closer to another championship. And while other teams are out here improving on a daily basis and trying to get to you and trying to make up that ground, the Lakers are creating more ground and more space between them and that second tier of NBA teams. And I love every move that Rob Pelinka has made. Look, can we put our trust back in Rob Pelinka now? Does he deserve that? I think he does after this insane offseason. So to end today's show, I'm going to ask you one quick question because this is kind of the last domino to fall for the Los Angeles Lakers. Now, I'm recording this at about noon Central Time, and Anthony Davis has still not signed his deal. So let me know in the comment section. I want you to make some predictions for me. When will Anthony Davis finally sign that deal? Scroll on down to the comments and let me know. But also, let me know how excited you are about Markieff Morris being back in the purple and gold.